Hey guys, what's up? This is Scher talking. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing Ultra Deluxe, Gustave, and Fatima and Fullbright. A lot of people will be thinking about the value of this banner because Gustave is a protagonist, like one of the strongest characters in the universe of SaGa Frontier 2, and well, he's an upgrade over Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave, but not all the time. There are buffs into this character. There was also some buffs into the Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave, and I'm here to guide you through the decision if it's worth summoning here or not. So let's click here on Summon Details and check Gustave. Yeah, we have to check him first because he is the champion of this banner. Starting here, we have this attack called Jumping Slash, and sadly, this is not a good attack. This attack reminds me of one of attacks from SaGa Frontier 2. It's just a B damage, 6 BP coast attack. And here we start discussing this. Many of the attacks that we like to use come from cycles of 6 BP or 8 BP. 5 BP is not exactly bad, because you can use it 3 times in a row, but only if it has some added value to it, like double element or some debuff or something. Jumping Slash is not that powerful and it costs too much for it. I think it should be a 4 BP attack instead of 5. Yeah, sadly it's not that good. And it also brings some other problems into his cycling. The second attack is Double Gash, and this one should be pretty nice. Double Gash is a double hit attack that can hit multiple enemies. It's a random attack, as you can see it here. This time it hit 2 times the same target, but it should be very random. Double Gash is a C power attack with 7 BP cost once you fully awaken this. And when you look, you think that C power is not that high, but it's double attack. In the future, when we get access to more double S greatsword weapons, it will give even more damage. Remember, every time that you use one attack, even if it's multiple attacks, it takes the skill power along the weapon power. So even when you see a lower damage, you may still reach higher potential with a good weapon. So Double Gash is not exactly as strong as Double Crush. Yeah, we know, because Double Crush uses 10 BP. But Double Gash can be used 2 times in a row. It may be useful depending on the situations if Double Gash is enough to kill your target. If you need extra power, you should be inheriting Double Crush from his Battle of Bucket Hill version. But Double Gash should not be considering inferior all the time just because of the cycling. Remember, maybe 2 times is better than just a single time. Turn 1 and turn 2 Double Gash is pretty nice. And you are wondering why? Because he has Power Charge too. So he starts the fight with 12 BP, meaning that on turn 2 he has 15. 7 plus 7, 14. You can use this two times in a row. Okay, and then he will finalize with Jumping Slash. That's what you're asking. No, he cannot finalize with Jumping Slash because this skill, just like I said, has a pretty high cost. It's 5 BP, so 7 plus 7 plus 5 means 19. He would not have this much, he only has 18. So, on the start of the review, you can already see that there are some problems with his cycling. Jumping Slash is in the middle of most of his builds. I don't know why, but yeah, this is what happens with him. And the last skill is Steel Wave, and Steel Wave is a powerful AoE attack. It has nothing special, to be honest, just like many other AoE attacks that cost 15 BP. There are some others that have lower power, like B, and still costing 15, like Noel's. But Steel Wave is here, very powerful attack, and you can use this on turn 1. Yes, because he starts with 12. You can awaken this to 12, he opens with this. But then what? What can he do after using Steel Wave? Well, not many things. He cannot use Double Gash, not even after 2 turns. He will be able to use Jumping Slash, but like I said, it's not a powerful attack that kinda has a problem with Gustave. At least there's one build that works pretty fine with him, and that is if you inherit Double Crush, you can open with Double Crush on turn 1, and then on turn 3, you will have Double Gash available. Just leave Jumping Slash on 6. This should be your go-to build for Gustave most of the time, unless you really want him to use AoE. I don't think that his AoE is the best thing in the world, especially because it brings new problems with his own build. So even if you want to use his AoE potential, you are kinda limited here. It's hard to start with AoE, and after AoE, you won't have anything else to help contribute to finish the stage. You see, some problems with Gustave, even though he's a very strong character. Now, before we go into his passives, let's open Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave. And we need to decide something here about inheritance, and also discuss this Gustave as well, because this version of Gustave, it's a block, because it's such a powerful style that I still don't have any maxed, simply because I don't want to use all my gold pieces. But it's an incredible character, very powerful, and was buffed for global, and something very unique about him is here. It's called a double flowing slash. This attack uses 8 BP, yes, instead of 7, and if you do the math, he cannot use this twice in a row, even with power surge, because he would not have enough BP to do that. He has 15 on turn 2, not 16. And now into his passives, the first one is Power Charge 2. We already discussed this because it allows him to use Double Gash 2 times in a row, allows him to start with Steel Wave, also allows him to open with Double Crush and then use Double Gash on turn 3. That's only because of Power Charge 2. It's very interesting, it's a kind of a sacrifice to be able to use better skills for auto cyclings, but it doesn't really help in boss fights, at least not much. Then the second one is called Absorbing Fury. This one, when he lands an attack, he recovers his own HP with a high chance medium effect. This is something that is new. We had the same passive, same type of passive, but only 25% chance of triggering. He brings 40% chance of triggering, and when he uses a double attack, he has two chances to trigger, but it will stop on trigger 1, so you can only heal once, but you have more chances to trigger because of double attacks. And then, as you can see, Fired Up 5 also. Fired Up 5 brings 20% increase in damage at all times, and this is pretty nice. Strangely, he doesn't have anything else about damage. He sacrifices a second passive that increases something, but the Battle of Bucket Hill, this one that we'll be comparing on this review, has a healing passive and 2 other passives that are related to damage. One increases STR with 25% chance, and another one is Fired Up 4. Yeah, so a little less damage increase at all times, but a chance to increase its own STR, meaning that for long fights, if the Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave triggers too much of its own STR, he may even overcome Gustave damage, but that's only in squads that don't have a dedicated buffer. If you have a dedicated buffer, this Gustave will do way more damage because of his multipliers. And now we have both styles side to side so we can compare their status. I must say that Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave was kind of pretty strong for his release, and that's why it's so similar when compared to Ultra Deluxe Gustave. Yeah, and this is also a problem when deciding which character that you want to invest or use depending on the situations. UDX Gustave has a way higher STR with 100% modifier and 13 bonus, while Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave has 91 plus 16. You may see this 16 as, well, a little better than 13. It does help him reach closer, but yeah, 100 is way more than just 91. Then we have the first thing that is better on Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave, the endurance. It is not supposed to be so high because he was buffed for global. And 84% in endurance is pretty high for someone that you want to use on the front line. You can also use this Gustave by using Anima Stream. Why? Because you sometimes will need more intelligence to land the buffs. This version of Gustave is the best STR debuffer in the game right now, but it has a very problematic thing with his intelligence being so low. That's why we use him in Anima Stream in the front. I used him many times in my strategies, and I still regard him as very useful. Okay, and then the next one is Dexterity, and Battle of Bucket Hill has a lower one. Well, it doesn't really matter. This value is still pretty high for you to not miss attacks. Let's not compare this too much. And then we have Agility. Here, Bucket Hill Gustave has 67, while UDX Gustave has 62, but plus 15, meaning that he will sometimes overcome the difference between the modifiers because of the flat increase. Yeah, UDX Gustave needs this because he's also an AoE opener. Why we don't have this with Gustave? He's just a single target damage dealer at most times. So I think that they are kind of tied here. This is something that right now we have a better SCR with UDX and a better endurance with Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave, and the other status really doesn't make much difference. And then we reach Intelligence. Intelligence is higher on UDX Gustave, 10% more, and this can be a very good difference when trying to debuff some bosses, because 1 point makes total difference when trying to debuff. And 29 is a better thing, but still a very low value. But I say that for Gustave, having double flowing slash, double debuff, it's good with a low intelligence, because it's a high risk with a high payoff. You may fail, but if you land, it's a double debuff with 8 BP. It's incredible. Very good for a character that can do this. So 29 will help you a little, but not by much. Remember that. You still prefer to use him alongside squads that can buff his own intelligence, or formations like Enemy String that increases as well. Or Sigmoid. Sigmoid also increases it. Very good for Gustave. Then we reach Will. And Will, it's way higher on this version of Gustave. And I can say that this version of Gustave will just be used in Dragon Strike sometimes. He will just be for power. You hardly choose him over the other for int debuff. You can, but, well, there's not much difference between the two. And if you want this version of Gustave, you want him for damage and sustain. The healing, that's higher chances on this version of Gustave. So, having a higher heal allows him to be used more in the middle, or in some other situations where you face bosses that deal magical damage, and he will also not be inflicted with too many status effects. The good thing is that by having a high will, it is better for the buffers, because they should not be inflicted with any type of status elements. So yeah, if you're still trying to use double flowing slash with UDX Gustave, it may work better. And then we have Love and Shy, and those two status barely make any difference in between the two, because Love, it's for a healer, and here it also helps when he receives the healing that he gives, and then the Sha value also increases. So both status are good, but they really doesn't impact too much when using this character. So in the end, what we have is a higher endurance in Battle of Bucket Hill for better frontline usage, and a higher STR for better use in the middle line of Dragon Strike with UDX Gustave. If you have a full squad for damage that want to finish the fight as soon as possible, UDX will be way better than Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave. Sadly, you cannot use both. This is not Final Fantasy Brave Axis where you can use duplicates in the field. But the important thing here is that, have you seen so much difference between the two styles? Well, by looking on the status, you will not see them. It's more about the cycling and the skill options. And if you have a very trained Battle of Bucket Hill Gustave, you can wait to get this Gustave later. And this is a central topic of our discussion. But in order to do that, we have to return to the game. Here, as you can see, double flowing slash is a skill that I use all the time for boss fights. The current fight against Wyvern is way easier if you bring Gustave. And what do I do with this version of Gustave? Well, I can use double flowing slash as an opener. I just increase double crush. And then I inherit the flowing slash, the normal flowing slash from his other style. Let me search here. This version of flowing slash, so that he will just use debuff attacks all the time. Yeah, this version of Gustave can be the buff machine. The problem is the intelligence. If you're playing on auto, this version of Gustave may still be useful here and there. Because of that, open with double flowing slash, and every time that it has BP available, it will just overwrite and smash with flowing slash and debuff again with a single attack, you see? Battle of Bucket Hill is just so incredible that even now it will triumph sometimes against his Ultra Deluxe version. So, this version of Gustave deserves a 10? Well, maybe. I think he's better, he deserves a higher grade. But then, is the increased grade enough for you? Because, say, we have Mirza, another Ultra Deluxe character that was released recently. Mirza faces no competition on AoE healing. Gustave is just a little better and a better damage dealer in sustain than the competition. He will compete against the Termite Final Emperor, against even global exclusive Katarina, his own past Bucket Hill version, even Golden Lion when she finally gets Double Crush, and he will just be a little better, but you could still do without him. You can still use the same characters that I'm mentioning. They can still be used in the same slot as this version of Gustave. So that's why he's such a strong character, and even receiving a higher grade, he does not offer the same value as Pione, as Madeline, as other characters that faces no competition. Okay? So this is my opinion on Gustave. Let's talk about Fatima. Fatima, let's click here on trial. she has Nightmare Blade. This attack here is not an attack at all. Yes, it's not, it doesn't do damage. It's a column attack that has a chance to inflict sleep, a medium chance. And medium is good because of her high intelligence. We'll be discussing the values later. Then we have Plasma Thrust. This is still a happier attack, so it's still based on dexterity that brings only lightning damage. I don't know why it's just pierce and lightning, but it's just lightning. And it's okay because it's 5 BP and also B power. You can use this 3 times in a row, so depending on the situation and on the stage, if you have not many enemies on the stage, it should contribute to damage. Then the last one is Purple Lightning. This attack here is double S power that can reach 8 BP cost, and it has an effect that's incredible because it can be used 2 times in a 3-turn cycle. Yeah, so as you can see, she has 2 different builds, either Plasma Thrust 3 times in a row, or then 2 times Purple Lightning in 3-turn cycle. The power is good, and it also brings a stun with a medium chance. Like I said, her intelligence is pretty high, so this means that she will land this more often than not. But the cost is pretty high, so you should not rely on this for stun. Okay, and then we should just click here on Style Details and her passives. I really don't like the first one. Vital Sleep inflicts sleep on all enemies with a medium chance. Remember, on passives, medium chance means 25% chance of triggering. It's not high, it has a cap, but you inflict 25% chance of sleep on every new round. Well, it may be useful for those that are starting the game, but not for veterans. Then we have Lightning Amp. This increases the damage of lightning attacks by 10%. And then for the 4, yeah, for the 4 is still something that will happen for Platinum and some other styles. But it means 25% increase in damage at all times when using the 2nd and 3rd skill. She has an interesting inheritance from her S style, let's discuss this. And for Fatima, she has an S and A style that are kinda old. They were also limited, so not many people will have. But let's give a look here. We have Mesmerize with her S style that has a medium chance to inflict sleep. And her high intelligence will allow her to be one of the best sleep inflictors in the game. Yes, for a single target this time, not a column attack. Yeah, and this attack here, Dancing Moon, is also interesting because it recovers her own HP. But it's 7 BP with B power. Well, it's a sacrifice that may be useful for some boss fights. Yeah, it's also only pierce, so it would not receive the lightning increase. Lord Ballet is just too old for today's standards, in my opinion. And her A style, well, it has nothing useful. There's Pierce Lightning that is both Pierce and Lightning, but again, too costly. 7 BP for a B attack is just, well, too much for today's standards. Yeah, now let's just give a look on her multipliers on Now Roma SaGa. Okay, as you can see, the 3 styles are here, but this also brings us some question. Just like Butcher before, she has a problem reaching the highest potential because of not being able to get the other styles anymore. They are limited and they are old. But at least the most important one she already increases with dexterity and intelligence. Yeah, at least those 2. So now for her multipliers, as you can see, 84% for dexterity and 70 for agility. 84 is a very old value. Release character had this already. Yes, let's compare this to Monica. Christmas Monica was kind of strong for her release, and she already had 85. Yeah, it's almost the same thing. And the next version of Monica is coming pretty soon, and it will give 94% increase. And now the last value is intelligence. Like I said, her intelligence is pretty high on 73%. This is almost mage values. Mages have 80 something, but you don't see non-mages having such a high intelligence. So if you someday need sleep, she would be pretty good for that. And especially if you have the Mesmerize attack that can be spammed like crazy. Since the first one can be reduced to 4, but it doesn't do damage. But it's still useful even if you don't have the others, because 4 BP is a very good low value to use. Yeah, so Fatima deserves a good grade. Yes, I think that right now Fatima deserves a 9.0, but her value decreases fast within time since we will get better pierce damage dealers and better, and that may affect her potential. And now it's time to talk about Fullbright. And this guy here is in a strange place for everything, because he's a blunt damage dealer that's also supportive. If you want him for damage, you have hard time trying to mix him because he needs intelligence slots, but he's a blunt damage dealer. Yeah, earth spells do blunt damage. The first one is Stone Bullet. This is a very weak attack, but on the same time it's cheap, D power, 3 BP, nothing else. The second one is Earth Heal, and Earth Heal is good because it can cleanse. It's a heal spell with cleanse effect, and it can reduce it to 4. If you compare this to Princess White Rose, she uses 5 BP, he uses 6, but his healing is lower. It's not as powerful as Princess White Rose. But then, if you don't have access to Princess White Rose because she's limited, and you happen to get him from Platinum, or, well, here if you want to get Gustave, it will have some value. It's just that if you have Princess White Rose, you have 0 reasons to use Fullbright. And at least let's check the last skill called Stone Shower. It's a very old attack. This is similar to Punishing Palm in effect because it's just, you know, 11 BP or 9 when you awaken and C power. It's the same thing as Punishing Palm, but for a mage. And for passives, the first one is Caustic Confusion. It gives him a chance to inflict confusion for 4 turns, but the chance is pretty low. It's only 10%. Yeah. Then Punishing Breath, he recovers BP with a medium chance on the start of a turn. So if you want to use Earth Heal more times, and this will allow you to just recover BP to use it more often, but you don't have a use for other stuff already. Well, Stone Bullet is 3 when you fully awaken, and Earth Heal is 4. Well, sometimes you may need one more, but you won't have enough LP to keep healing for too long. And then the last one is Breath of Life, recovers own HP with a medium chance, medium effect, meaning it's 25% chances, and the healing should be around 300 and something. This is the same thing that we also have with Princess White Rose. Punishing Breath is also the same thing. It's just that she needs more BP, she needs 5 to use her healing with cleanse. So she had a better excuse to use this type of passive. He doesn't have an excuse. He wanted something to increase his damage because he has 2 damaging spells. And when he's not healing, what is he doing in your squad? I don't know. I really don't know. That's why Fullbright is just so bad. Even Sophia will be better than Fullbright. Sophia can even debuff. Fullbright cannot. Unless you are desperate for the cleanse, you should not even try to use Fullbright. Now let's just give a look on his multipliers. Here, as you can see, he has 60% for agility. That's not high, so well, it doesn't really matter depending on the situation. You may want to heal before or after. And the intelligence is pretty high. It's just that, well, he doesn't even have a use for this. He doesn't have a nuke. Even that will help him a little. AoE damage with a healer with 9 BP cost is just too much. You don't want to do that. And then his will is 71%. His love is not even that high for healing. And charm is on 51. I really believe that this guy could have used a better status distribution, just like a better skill setup. What I want to say is that you can bring only 5 characters in a fight, and then the value of every slot is high. You have to think well about which type of character you want to bring. And if you are in a boss fight, you can try to bring someone to heal and do other stuff, like even Sophia, a release character. But he will just sit there watching the fight, and then when he gets the chance to cleanse, he will just say, "What? Finally my time to shine." Yeah, only for those that are desperate for cleanse. And this brings us back to the banner image, and the important question, like all the time, is it worth so many for this banner? In my opinion, it really depends if you want Gustave. And if you want Gustave, you want a little more damage and a character that you can be using for much and much time, because he will stay there. He will stay on your compositions as a boss killer, and also will stay for your farming setups against only 1 or 2 enemies. The thing is that there are many slash damage dealers right now, and there will be way many more being released, and he will face competition, and his overall value decreases more and more. But he is at least useful right now, and will keep pinging. But if you think that you can skip Gustave, if you are already taking good advantage of Pet of Bucket Heal Gustave and you don't need the extra power or the extra sustain, you can skip this banner. Yeah, there are way more important banners coming up, like Joe and Matriarch's banner, and this banner will stay for a long time. You can even wait to see what happens before summoning for Gustave. I don't know if you already summoned because this video is coming way too late, but at least I'm trying to explain my ideas. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Leave the comments here, have you summoned and what you think about this character. Join our Discord server so we can discuss more about games. Then we see each other on the next video. Bye.